New documents show the Massachusetts mother of three who went missing last week filed a police report accusing her husband of threatening to kill her and her friend.
CNN is reporting the 2014 incident happened in Washington, D.C. before the couple was married. The case was reportedly closed for lack of victim cooperation. Ana Walshe was reported missing on January 4th. The 39-year-old was last seen early New Year's Day. Police arrested her husband, Brian Walsh, earlier this week on a charge of misleading investigators. Prosecutors say a bloody knife was found in the family's basement shortly after the husband spent hundreds of dollars on cleaning supplies.
Joining us to talk more about the investigation is retired FBI Special Agent Mary Ellen O'Toole.
She worked in the Behavioral Analysis Unit and is now the Director of Forensic Sciences at George Mason University. Mary Ellen, welcome. Give us some insight into the pace of this investigation, how it's moving along here, and what authorities are still looking for to piece this case together.
Well, this is going to be a very challenging case for the investigators because if they ultimately don't find a body, they have to be able to show that the victim did not voluntarily go missing, because it's not a crime if you voluntarily go missing as an adult. So they're looking at three categories of things. They're looking for physical evidence, and that means DNA, hairs, fibers, fingerprints. They're looking for the technology. They're looking for cameras and cell phone information. And then they're establishing something that's equally as important, and that is a personality assessment of the victim, and they're looking for that victim's patterns of behavior. So in other words, they want to be able to present to the jury, this is someone that would not voluntarily go missing, and here are their patterns of behavior, and here were their future plans going down the road. So those three categories are critical, and that takes time to be able to put all of that together.
We've heard or learned more about Anna's husband, Brian, who's already been charged with misleading investigators. He's awaiting sentencing in a federal case. In the meantime, friends and family are speaking to his character. They're calling him everything from angry and violent to a, quote, sociopath. So what's your take on him, and how much weight will those statements and his past carry in this case? And also, you know, the circumstantial evidence of the cleaning supplies, I think that just kind of spoke volumes to me as a viewer.
Yes, that's very compelling. And first, to the opinions of friends and acquaintances. If their opinions were put into an affidavit is like raising your right hand in court. You swear to tell the truth. So that becomes important, and that would become important to prosecutors. However, when it comes to using a term like sociopath, I have some issues with that. That's an old-fashioned term. So if someone that was just a friend or an acquaintance of the offender used that term, that could just be thrown a label out there. In order to be assessed as a sociopath, the new term is psychopath. The old term hasn't been used for 45 years. That's why I think people are just throwing that label out there. That assessment, that label would have to come from a qualified psychological or psychiatric expert. So we have to be careful of labels, where they're coming from, and if they're in an affidavit. Now, relative to the blood and the some of the tears and shreds and some of the cleaning supplies, that's going to be important if they proceed and they charge this case, because it does show that there's some element of planning here, but it has to be demonstrated that that blood belongs to the victim. That is the victim's blood. That is the ultimate criteria in that assessment.
Well, there's a lot to pour over. I'm sure that investigators are at it nonstop. Mary Ellen O'Toole, thank you so much.
You're welcome.